Hey everyone, Sarah here from Growing Home and Garden, and today I'm going to be starting seeds here in zone 4B. We're just about 10 weeks away from last frost, I hope. So I'm going to be starting some of my seedlings that fall in that 8 to 10 weeks from the last frost. You're supposed to get them started range, and I will show you what I'm doing today. So first I have a few from Floret, the Costa Apricot Snapdragons, the Lacy Pink Lace Flower, and then the Summer Berries Yarrow. So these three say to start seeds indoors in trays 8 to 10 weeks before the last frost. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And then I also have a few more varieties that I picked up just along the way. This one I picked up as part of my vegetable order from Mowing Organic Seeds. This one is another Snapdragon, lots of pastel colors in this seed mix. And then we have Echinacea, which is actually a perennial. I'm very excited about growing perennials from seed, so I was really happy when I saw this one. And then I have a couple of herbs just to get started as well that I picked up at the garden center. We have Spearmint and Sage. The Spearmint is actually a perennial. For me, this one is zone 3 through 10. The Sage is a perennial for zone 5 through 8. So I kind of missed the mark there with Sage being able to come back year after year. But we'll see if it comes back for me. Anyways, I wanted to get these started up and also show you, a couple weeks ago I started this tray of my Floret Iceland poppies. These are the sherbet mix, and they're actually starting to put on their first true leaves. They're teeny tiny. If you've ever planted poppy seeds, they're so small, so it makes sense for this little seedlings to come up very small. You can see I need to do some thinning, but I wanted to show you my progress on that because it's super exciting. These are the very first flowers that I got started for this year, so I'm happy to add some more to that collection today. So I'm just gonna quickly go over my supplies here. I have some seed starting trays. They each have 10 cells. I don't think I'm gonna use all of those today, but they will be where I'm planting the seeds. And I also have my seed starting mix. Now, a couple of reasons why it's important to actually start your seeds in seed starting mix rather than potting mix. Seed starting mix is actually loftier than potting mix, so it's easier for the little baby roots to get down into the soil. So seed starting mix is what I'd recommend here. And then I also pre-moistened it a little bit. You want the seed starting mix to be able to hold together when you press it. I mean, I could probably even add a little bit more water to that, but you don't want it to be dripping wet. And oftentimes I am more on the dripping wet side of things, so I decided to go a little bit light on the water today to try to avoid that. So we have our seed starting mix, we have our little seed trays, and we have our seeds, so let's get started. So here I'm just filling up the seed trays, lightly packing in the soil, trying my very best not to make a mess. Pack these in lightly. Because that seed starting mix is a little bit lofty, you'll find that when you do pack it in, there's probably going to be a little bit of give. So just be sure not to pack it down so firmly that the roots can't get through, but also be sure that you have enough soil in there so that when you water these seedlings, you're not seeing that the soil level really decreases a ton because you didn't put enough soil in there. What I like to do when I'm starting seeds, keep one hand dirty and one hand clean, so you have the ability to do things with your clean hand, like read the back of your seed packet without making everything a mess. So let's get started first with the spearmint. The spearmint says that it should be barely covered. So to me, that means I need to only slightly push this into the soil. You can see that the seeds are just tiny, tiny, tiny. So it'll be hard for me to actually control very precisely how many are going in, but I'm going to try to do 2 per cell. And these ones, since they say barely cover, I'm just gonna lightly dust over the soil so that I can't see the seed anymore. And for the time being, before I label these, I'm just going to stick the seed packet where I planted those seeds so that I'm sure not to get them mixed up. The next one I'll do is the sage, and this one we don't eat a ton of, so I'm only going to do 2 cells. The sage seeds are a little bit bigger. Same thing here, just 2 per cell, and I forgot to look at how deep they need to go. 1/8 of an inch, so I'm gonna put these on top of the soil and then I'm just gonna poke them down a little bit. I'll just sprinkle a little bit of my seed starting mix on top. And then the Echinacea here, I think these are so pretty, and they're a perennial for zone 3 through 10. So I do want a few of these. I have 4 cells left in this tray, so I'm gonna do the remainder of this tray with the Echinacea. Something else I do when I place these seeds is I kind of spread them out a little bit, meaning I'm not going to place them right next to each other in the cell. I spread them out a little bit so that when I thin them, if I have 2 good ones, I can maybe pop one of the good ones out and put it in another seed tray. Let's get started on our Floret seeds. This is the Yarrow Summer Berries from Floret. This one is a perennial. The next one is a lace flower, lacy pink from Floret. We haven't gotten on to the snapdragons yet. I have one from Floret and I have one from Mowing. I am actually going to do 1 whole tray per snapdragon. The first ones I'll do is the snapdragons from Floret, and I'm gonna do a full tray like I mentioned. Of course, teeny tiny seeds need a seed packet within the packet. The very last one is from Mowing, the Lion's Mouth snapdragons. Again, a full tray. Let's see if we get a packet inside of a packet again with this one. And now all that's left is to label them, water them, and then stick them under the grow lights. So I have here with me these plant labels. I do recommend using these plant labels over something like popsicle stick, because when you have a popsicle stick with writing on it getting wet over and over and over again, it gets hard to read exactly what you wrote. And that brings me to getting a garden marker. It is more reliably going to stay on your plant tags than just a Sharpie. So I've got my Costa Apricot Snapdragons going in. And these plant tags are also nice because they are short enough so that when you put the dome over your plants for germination purposes to keep the humidity high, they're not super tall, so the dome can actually fit over your plants. Alrighty, so now that I'm done labeling, I'm going to get these watered and stick them under grow lights. This is so super exciting for me because it's another round of seedlings. It gets to start growing. I will keep you posted on how they grow. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram as well at Growing Home and Garden because I'll be posting frequently to give you guys an update on how the seedlings are peeking out. It's gonna be soon that they look like these poppies do. And then before we know it, we're gonna be able to plant these outside. So exciting times. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.